It's time.
The light fades, darkness falls, the air grows cold. The earth trembles, pages turn, something moves.
We're all cursed. All of us.
It's too late to run. It's too late to scream. The fog is here. John Carpenter's The Fog, rated R.
Fall film fright may be over because it is no longer fall, but that doesn't mean I can stop reviewing other movies throughout certain times of year. But the catch is they're still horror films, so this is Josh Akers Film Review. I'm Josh Akers, and today we're going to be talking about 1980 John Carpenter's The Fog. Now, this movie came out right after Halloween. John Carpenter wanted to make a ghostly revenge tale, and this is a story about a town called Antonio Bay. There was a rich man named Blake who suffered from leprosy, and there were 6 town folks, 6 conspirators, who were disgusted by the idea that Blake had to make a leper colony not far from theirs. So they killed him and stole his gold. They sunk his ship and plundered it. And 100 years later, the fog, well, as Father Malone put it,
we were aided by an unearthly fog that rolled in as if heaven sent, although God had no part in our actions tonight.
has come back. But this time it's not aiding the conspirators. It's aiding Blake and his comrades. And Antonio Bay, 100 years later, will suffer the consequences of those actions that night. This film stars an ensemble cast, including Hal Holbrook as Father Malone, Adrienne Barbeau as Stevie Wayne, Tom Atkins as Nick Castle, Jamie Lee Curtis as Elizabeth Soley, Janet Leigh as Kathy Williams, and Nancy Loomis as Sandy Fidel. Now, this is more of an ensemble effort. I don't really think there's a leading character in this film. Sometimes that works for the film, and sometimes that works against it, because some of the characters aren't as fleshed out as the others. I do want to know a little bit more about Nick Castle, the character. Not all these characters are named after real people, so I'd like to learn more about Tom Atkins' character, because he's Tom Atkins, of course. I'd like to learn more about Jamie Lee Curtis's character, and Nancy Loomis's character is obviously the most boring out of the bunch, but that is because the other ones are more interesting by default. I think Hal Holbrook and Adrienne Barbeau have more of the lead character type going on because they have importance to the plot, the most importance to the plot. John Carpenter made this ghostly revenge story after he made Halloween, and unfortunately he was going against films at the time that dealt with a lot of blood and a lot of gore, so he added some in. Not as much as people were expecting. There were genre expectations, and when the film came out, critics weren't really the happiest about it. In recent years, it's gained a cult following, and I can say it's much deserved. And I love this movie. If I was to come up with some complaints, some of the characters aren't as fleshed out, and the ending, I like the ending, it's just there's an aspect of the ending that I don't like. How they sort of showed it a little too early, like what the twist was going to be. But 6 Must Die was something that was uttered or shown. 6 Must Die. That means only 6 people do die in this film. Spoilers, I know. But this movie is really good. I'd say it's creepy more than it is scary.
Something
eyes with like an albatross around the neck. No more like a millstone. A plumbing stone, by God. Damn them all.
But I do believe you'll enjoy it. And the 2005 remake, I'm not fucking watching, I'm not fucking reviewing, because I've heard reviews and I've heard fans talk about it. It sucks ass. Watch the 1980 original. It's awesome. John Carpenter might not like it, and neither does Jamie Lee Curtis, but I do believe that you should look for the fog.
Look across the water into the darkness. Look for the fog.